you agree? We have a problem with workplace productivity. Yep, it's the most drastic drop in 75 years, down 2.7%. And I'll tell you, silent quitters aren't helping. Another question. How many of you agree the workplace is not as safe as it once was? Misconduct is up 64%. Oh, US only 52. And if common sense were so common, wouldn't we see more of it? By the way, IQ scores are down almost 15 points since 1975. Earth, we have a problem. One of them is smartphones. It is really, smartphones are the modern day hypodermic needle delivering dopamine 24/7 to a very wired generation. And that's our future workforce. The addiction to social media, releasing up to 10 times more than the natural release of dopamine, it's really creating a hijack in the brain and creating a short circuit in the neocortex. So our executive function is less engaged, which is why critical thinking, rational decision-making, creative problem solving, and impulse control are becoming extinct. I mean, listen to the news. In fact, the brain scan of someone taking a hit of cocaine is very similar to the flood of dopamine of a young child that has too much screen time. We are literally snorting the internet with this compulsive overconsumption and infobesity. We are overwhelmed. We are stressed out. We're driven to distraction. In fact, there is a direct correlation between increased screen time and the increased mental health issues we're seeing: depression and anxiety, drug and alcohol abuse, obesity, suicide, violence. Face it, people aren't happy. But dopamine, that feel-good neurotransmitter, in and of itself is good when rewarding positive activities. It's the spark to the start. It's what motivates us to get things done, to excel, to be more than we ever thought possible. It's the driving force behind our aspirations and our dreams. It's why Tom Brady struggled with giving up football. And when not playing so well, he found a better source of dopamine: women. You know, it's why at age 80, I'm still on the stage, because for me, speaking is better than sex. But then I really have nothing to compare it to. So what controls you? No, not your husband, wife, boss, none of that stuff. It's habit. First, we make our habits, and then our habits make us. Motivation starts things moving, but it's habit that sustains the movement. So let me share some personal lessons from my habit of thinking big, good and bad. Life in Wisconsin was good. Thriving therapy practice, speaking worldwide, talk show host on ABC, making millions, but decided to trade the snow for sunshine. And enamored by North Carolina, I built on a small lake, featured on HGTV. This was only after my encounter with a realtor, a pardoned felon. So how many of you have trusted the wrong person? Based on false promises, I had purchased not one, not two, but 35 waterfront lots. Why? Well, basically because he told me he was going to flip one every week. And so if he had sold any, it would have been a great deal. And watching my hard-earned savings just dwindle away, lingering loss. How many of you have been there? I was losing 22 grand a month, year after year after year. But before I hit bottom, I opted out for a cozy cottage. It was a teardown, but on an island, my nirvana. But now the funds to build the house were aborted as yet another realtor forged my name and released my buyer. So in desperation, I go to Craigslist, right? For a mortgage broker, ended up with a con, never ever provided the funds as promised. So now my house is hanging from a crane and I'm homeless. I mean, tents on the street would have been an upgrade from this FEMA fantasy, rusted out, smoke infested disaster with no electricity, no flushing toilets, no running water for 15 months. I mean, my commode, it was a monogram plastic pail. Inconvenient? Yes. But although I was broke, I was never broken. Sustained by affirmations, visualization, prayer. Oh, yes. And my mother's mantra, look at the bright side. I had hope, health, an attitude of gratitude, a positive belief system, and I was willing to do whatever it would take. Oh, and I had my creative thinking and a computer. So I wrote my 7 books. You got to grow where you're planted. And as a brain trainer, I was armed. I knew all of the mind mastery strategies to reset and rewire my mental software. You want to know if you have a growth mind shift? Draw a Q on your forehead. And if the tail goes to the right, you got it. So, are you curious how I got the house built without a dang dime? Well, what I did is I made my friend, he had a perfect credit score. I made him the CFO of my LLC. I hustled to get a stack of credit cards business, and it provided the payoff to finish the job. The HELOC actually paid off the credit cards before the interest was due. And with 3 stories in the house, I created vacation rentals that allowed me to bounce back big. But you see, it's not about the house. It's really not the house. It's not even the view. But it's really you being clear on what you want. It's about creative problem solving, mind mastery, and resilience. So what do you want? I mean, while storms can disrupt, they can also clear the path for you to create your opportunity. And if committed, you too will be unstoppable. Because if you can't walk, you can dance. If you can walk, you can dance. If you can talk, you can sing. And if you can breathe, you can live. You too can live the life you desire, but only if you choose to dance. Thank you.